Hey everyone, welcome to our first YouTube live event for Nature Pal Exchange. If you're unfamiliar with Nature Pal Exchange, we're an educational program that encourages families to get outside and explore nature and discover God's creation. So I guess we'll just go around and introduce real quick who we are. I'm Christy Cox. I live in Northern Virginia with my family. We're a homeschool family, and I have 3 boys, 12, 11, and 5. And then we have Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy Gould, and I'm in Tennessee, and I have 5 children that I homeschool. They are 11, 9, 7, 5, and 4.
Hi, I'm Shannon Kelly. I live in Southern California, and we homeschool also. I have a 10-year-old boy, a 8-year-old girl, a 2-year-old girl, and a brand new baby at home, a little girl. So also, if you didn't know, Nature Pal Exchange, we also do an exchange between families where we have a charge, you sign up, and then we pair you with another family in then another part of the United States, and you send them a package of nature finds from your area, and you get one in return. So it's a really fun, interactive program that we do.
And if you have more questions, you could always visit our website at naturepalexchange.com, and we have an about page that explains a little bit more about who we are.
And we also post a lot on our Instagram site, Nature Pal Exchange, so you could check there also, and it has a link to our website there.
Yeah, so this week we were posting, and last week asking if anybody has questions about nature in general. And several of you commented and sent us messages asking about how to start identifying things in nature when you're out and exploring with your children, exploring on your own. How do you start identifying things? So we have gathered a few of our favorite field guides, and we were just going to talk about how we start identifying things. So I know when I'm out with my children and are either just us or with our nature group, we don't tend to stop and look through field guides a lot. We take them, we just go out exploring, and we just look around, and anybody who knows what something is will talk about it. If someone has a question, if one of the children asks, hey, what's that? But otherwise, we do a lot of picture taking, and then we get home and we look it up and find out what we saw that day. But we have some of these pamphlets that are really great for hiking because they are laminated, so they fold up, and if you drop them, you can wipe them right off, and it's no big deal. But if you can get things like this that are in your area, that's a really great place to start.
Sorry. I also have the tree. I have a tree one for California, and we use that also, and it's specific for your area. So you can get them specific for your area, so it makes it a lot easier to identify the trees that you see. Or they have lots of different ones like Andy showed you. Sorry, Christy.
Oh, no. Some of the nature parks, too, that we go to, the visitor centers, they have ones that are specific for what you will find in that park. And that's really helpful, too. Like, we live near the Shenandoahs, so I picked this one up at the park visitor center there. So you can check there, or Amazon.com carries a lot of them.
Yeah, I've gotten some on Amazon. I picked this up at a like one of those tourist stands that have all the flyers for all the touristy things that you can do in your area. So this one was all of the Tennessee state parks, which is really nice because there's a map in here that shows me where all the different places are. So if you're not sure where to even go to start looking in your area to know what nature parks are nearby, find one of those visitor stands and see what is there, because nature parks often have something there to notify all of us nature geeks of what's around.
I know for us, the national parks, a lot of them have these booklets that you can get, and this one's from Joshua Tree, and inside it, as you look through it, it will identify things for you or tell you about their like most of the plants they have are different trees and different flowers you can look for. And it's fun for the kids because it's almost like a scavenger hunt. So they can check off what they see and it gives them a good picture of what it should look like. It makes it easier to find. And these are free. And usually once they finish the booklet, they get a Junior Ranger badge. And so that's a fun little treat they get at the end of it also.
One other thing, I don't know if y'all have these or not, but our local park sells the passports of the national parks, and it comes with a map of all the national parks, and all the national parks have like a little stamping station, so it breaks it up by region. So if your family travels like by RV or something fun for vacations, you could visit all the national parks and get a stamp for that region. And also they tell a little bit about the landscape and just the diversity of the region. So that's fun too.
So I know for my family, the first thing we ever started identifying was birds. This is my absolute favorite field guide for birds. It's specific to California. Each page has a big colored picture, and then on the page next to it, it describes all about the bird. I bought this because it was a recommendation before we even started identifying birds, and I just left it in my car. And I can remember the first time we ever used it, we went out, we saw this giant white bird, and then I remembered I had the book in the car, so we went back and we identified it, and that just started the ball rolling for us. It's like, oh, it was so easy to figure it out because the pictures were so good and we could identify it easily, and then it just started us wanting to find out more and more and more. And so getting a good field guide, I think, is essential because some field guides are a little bit harder to identify, especially with plants, because the pictures are difficult to decipher. So just looking for a good field guide, get recommendations from friends, other people that like to identify things, and you can look up things that way.
Yeah, I took a class through our nature center, and the teacher was talking about, we were talking about mushrooms. It was not a mushroom class, but we got off topic and started talking about mushrooms because we were out exploring, and we kept asking her, well, what is this one? What is this one? And she's a mushroom expert. She knows tons of mushrooms. But she said, if you're wanting to learn something like mushrooms, birds, trees, whatever it might be, pick 3 to start with and really learn them and identify them and know how to find them and where they're located. Start with those 3, and then you can move on after that. So Shannon, you saw that white bird, and you got to check that off your list. You guys knew that bird every time you would see it.
Yeah, it was so fun. I mean, we would see it, the same bird, every time we go back to the same place. So it was just really fun for me and my kids. We just really enjoyed that. Yeah, I think it really helps once you start identifying. It just gives you more of a love for nature because you just are able to experience it in a different way. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Christy, you were talking about some apps that you have. What apps do you guys use when you're out exploring?
So we use My Garden Answers, and you just snap a photo of whatever you're trying to look for, and then it searches for it and tries to match it up. It's fairly accurate. Sometimes it can't, find it, but for the most part, I've had good luck with it. That's easy because we always have our phones with us when we're out. Yeah. And you can actually just if you just want to snap a picture and look later on, you can do that too. That's an option. Like, you don't have to do it at that moment and try to identify it. So that's the one that we use.
We have the Leaf app. Because I don't have Apple, my husband has it on his phone. So when he's with us, we can use that one. But there's several bird apps that we use when we're at home. I don't use those typically when we're out and about, but there's a lot of fun nature apps out there.
Yeah, and it makes it easy, and it's quick. And like we were talking about, if you just want to snap a picture and go, like if you're on a trail and you have to move on, you could look later. So that's helpful.
Yeah, I think it's also helpful when your kids see you out enjoying things and trying to identify them. I know my kids have really, they might not be interested at first, but once they see me trying to identify something or getting excited about it and pointing it out to them, then they become more interested. So I just think when, like, as a mom, like if you're out there with your kids, it really helps them, encourages them, and gets them more excited about identifying things.
I think too, like with myself personally, I don't think I've ever been like, hey guys, today we're gonna study this, or we're gonna start focusing on this. I just jump in right away and just do it. And then they're like, hey, that's cool. Like, I want to do that too. And, you know, I think that also coincides with our nature journaling. It was never a thing like, hey guys, mommy's going to sit down and you're going to sit down, you know, to make it a big ordeal. I just sit down, open up watercolors or my pencils and nature journal. And then they see that and they're like, oh, I want to do that too. That looks fun. You know, so it's never a thing where I have to say, hey guys, this is what we're going to do. And then there's like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's just they see me enjoying it and having fun and they want to take part of it as well. So
yeah, I never tell my kids, go identify something. That ruins it, I think. It's just, I'll walk around and be like, oh my gosh, look at that flower. It's so beautiful. I wonder what it's called. And we'll look it up. Or well, maybe next time we see it again. And it's just like over time we'll become more interested. And so we look it up. It's not like I'm commanding it.
Right. And they get excited when they can identify it. So
they do. They love it when they know something and they can tell you, or they can tell someone who's, you know, visiting with you. Maybe they're out. My children love telling my parents when they learn about something, or they'll just randomly tell a neighbor, oh, that bird is such and such when it lands, when we're outside and they see it. So it's great when they can own the information that they're learning when you are out exploring.
Sorry, guys. Mom life.
Yeah.
So
I think
I had a couple other, I had a couple other field guides that we use at home. These are the National Audubon Society. This one, we have several of these that are bigger, and these definitely have more information and goes in depth a little bit more than these smaller ones. That these are pretty thin. These are the first field guide. So it's geared more for younger children. So there's still a lot of information in here, but it's not quite as scientific. And then we also love these, the Golden Guide. These are fun. That we just have a whole stack of these that we
have
on our nature shelf. Yeah.
You can find them a lot at used bookstores, like Friends of the Library. That's where I pick up a lot of my stuff, is just when we're looking through, you grab them. Usually pretty cheap, like $1.50.
No, and sometimes if there's something that I'm wanting to research and I keep having to Google it instead of finding it in our books, I will specifically look for that kind of a field guide. So if I'm wanting an insect, you know, I didn't have this insect one, so I we were trying to identify insects. So I just kept my eye out for a specific insect, because we have so many bird identification guides because we love watching the birds. And I realized we don't need any more bird guides. I think we have enough. So I started thinking, okay, what are some other guides that we really need to focus on?
Yeah, we have, this one's actually falling apart because my middle, he's obsessed with reptiles and amphibians. And this is the Smithsonian Nature Guide. And it's really cool. It has all different reptiles and amphibians. And I don't know if it breaks it up by region or not, but it gives a lot of really great details. And he's been able to use this to identify some of the things that he's found and caught. And then we also have the Smithsonian Rock and Mineral Book, which is cool. There's a lot of detail in there as well, which is nice.
I think I might be sending you some pictures of rocks that we have.
I know, I don't have one of these either. Cool.
Christy, can you identify this for me?
Yeah, seriously.
But you know, that's another great thing. If you've got some friends who have other field guides that you can share, or you can send pictures, Hey, I saw this. Do you have any idea what it is? So the more you talk with other friends and you find out what their expertise lies in, if they know birds left and right, up and down, snap a picture and send it to them. Hey, do you know what this is? I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I've done that so many times because we'll find bird feathers, and I don't have a feather identification book. And I'll say, hey, what is this from? Because I have no idea. And they're usually pretty good at identifying it for us.
Yeah.
So definitely having a community of people around you, even if it's through friends that you've met like on Instagram or whatever, just find your little community there where you could share information. That's a good point.
Yeah, our nature group everyone just brings field guides with them, or brings field guides or those little fold-out guides, and we'll help each other identify things. I mean, everyone gets excited about it, so it's like one person finds something and everyone pulls out their field guides and helps figure out what it is. So yeah, it's fun when you're in a group and everyone can help.
Yeah, and I think when the kids see all the moms crowding around trying to figure something out, they're like, hey, I want to know too. So it encourages them as well when they see moms excited and in a community together. It encourages them to be involved and to want to know more too. So
yeah, well, thank you everybody who has joined us tonight to watch live, and thank you for those who are watching the replay. This has been a lot of fun. We are planning on doing more YouTube videos, so keep your eye out. Stay tuned on Instagram and our blog for more details. So we will see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.